Welcome back, my friends, to the I Was Born to Do This podcast. I'm your host, Kiera Brenton, and I'm really excited about this episode because this episode gets to be the combination dance of entrepreneurship and spirituality, which are both my favorite topics, and how I combine them together. As we will be moving forward and having a lot more entrepreneurs on the show, hearing their stories, hearing people, leaders, change makers, authors who feel so damn inspired to do what they do, I figured let's go back and talk about my journey here. So I want to start at age 12. Yep, I actually became an entrepreneur at 12. I had taken dance for a year. So I find that really interesting. I'd only been taking dance for a year, and at 12, I felt very qualified to become a dance teacher, which we'll see is actually quite the journey. I've done that over and over and over through my entrepreneurship lifelong journey. So at 12, I put out flyers throughout the whole neighborhood, and I started to teach dance in my parents' garage to the whole neighborhood. And I think I was making like $12 a month per kid, which was like a lot of money for me as a 12-year-old, right? So that was my first gig, first opportunity building my own business. Fast forward to 16. My family did not have a lot of money, and my mom really wanted to buy all of our clothes from the thrift store. And I was born with really rich taste. I wanted to only shop at Nordstrom's, and I did not want to get clothes from the thrift store. So I got a job that was disgusting. It was so gross. I had to wrap, this is so gross. I had to take Ace bandages. It was a salon, some secret place where people came to lose weight. Egyptian Secret. This was the name of it. And we had to take Ace bandages that were wrapped in some special serum that made people lose weight. And I had to wrap people who were extremely overweight in their underwear with these soaking wet Ace bandages from their toes to their necks, wrapped them. Then they would go work out for 30 minutes with bags on their hands and feet, and all the serum would come out, and I'd have to go and change the bags. And I remember fluids just like hitting me in the face. It was so filthy gross. But I made $15 a wrap, and I learned that if I could wrap fast enough, I could wrap 2 bodies in 1 hour, and I was making $30 an hour as a 16-year-old. So I was willing to do the nastiest job ever to make $30 an hour as a 16-year-old so I could buy all my clothes at Nordstrom's. So then I think 17 hits, and I'm like, I need to make some more money. I like making money. I need to make more money. And I had this idea, I think I could be a massage therapist. And I know my mom had a massage therapist on trade. This woman was trading for work. And I said, Mom, can I come watch you get a massage? Just one time, let me just come watch. So I sit in the room, I watch for a whole hour. I leave the room and I'm like, yep, I got it. I got it. I can be a massage therapist. And I started promoting this to all of my family members, cousins, aunts, uncles, $20 an hour, Saturday mornings. So mind you, I was also studying dance really seriously. So I was dancing probably 4 hours a night. My Saturdays were spent dancing. So that's why I had to have businesses that made a lot more money than just me working at McDonald's because my time was limited. So I'm wrapping obese people in gross Ace bandages in between dance classes at night. I'm doing probably 4 massages every Saturday morning for $20 an hour. And I was running an entrepreneurship business at this really young age because I always had this hunger, like, I know I can make more money doing these things, and I know I'm capable at it. So then my family didn't have money to send me to college, and I knew I needed $3,500 to go to massage school because I actually loved massaging and I knew I was good at it. But I had no way of making $3,500 super fast. And this beauty contest comes up, and it was called Junior Miss, and you had to have a 4.0 grade point average to win. I had a 2.7. I hated school. I also have ADD, and school is not my jam. But I was like, I'm going to win this whole thing. And I remember my friends saying, there's no way you can win, Kira. Like, you have a 2.7. And I was like, watch me. So I killed it in talent. I killed it when they interviewed me. I walked on that stage like I was meant to be a beauty queen for the rest of my life. And you better freaking believe I won that whole damn competition, $3,500 in my bank account, signed up for massage school the next week. And that led me to building my longest career of 20 years of massage therapy. And throughout that space and time, I was able to make $150 to $200 an hour while being a mom to 1 kid, 2 kids, up until I had 5 children. It was a phenomenal job for me. It also was the thing that helped me really understand the body. So I talk about the body all the time, building business, listening to your body. As a medium, I'm always listening to people's bodies when I'm channeling with them. Massage therapy gave me that first touch of how to hear the body. Well, somewhere in between there, I also had this wild idea that I wanted to become a photographer. So I took one semester class in college. I think I was 22. I was pregnant with my first child. And I was like, oh, this is just so damn slow. Like, they're not moving fast enough. I'm not learning fast enough. Like, I don't do slow. So I bought myself my very first camera from saving up for massage therapy. It was a DSLR, and I think it was like the Canon Rebel. And I started to just say I was a photographer. And so it was. And so I started to promote that I was a photographer, and I learned along the way. I was watching, I don't think, was YouTube even alive? Probably. All I know is I was reading books on how to do it. I found a neighbor who already was a photographer, and I was like, how much can I pay you to teach me how to do Photoshop? And I don't think she even made me pay her. She just sat with me and taught me Photoshop. So I learned the basics of Photoshop. I had a really good creative eye, and I started to just build a business as a photographer. So I'm a massage therapist 3 nights a week, raising all these kids. And then I was also doing photography on the weekend. I want to point out that every business I have ran has now helped me do what I do now. So brand photography is a massive part of my work. Like, I am a big believer of having great brand photography. I'm really good in front of the camera because I spent, a decade taking people's pictures. So now it helps me feel so comfortable in front of a camera because I know it. I know how I want the body to look and feel and be. And also, it's helped me along the way take pictures of my authors. So whenever someone comes to an event with me, I'm always taking their pictures. I'm always helping them build their brands. So I love stories of entrepreneurship because every weird little job gives you a talent that you need for the ultimate success that you are building. And photography really did. It built that for me. Also, I know how to use Photoshop. So I use those skills every day in business. Little did I know when I was 25 doing that business that it would help me one day when I owned a publishing house. Like, little did I know. So I'm building the photography brand. And I remember that I needed a new lens. I had this love affair with this, what was it? The 7200. I think it was a 70 to 200 2.8. It was so damn delicious. Anytime I shot with that lens, it was like butter. Every shot was butter. Everyone looked better. But this was like a $2,000 lens. And I, I'm no longer married, but I really want to honor my ex on how he was a critical piece to my entrepreneurship because he made me figure it out. I remember going to him and saying, can I borrow $2,000 from our bank account? I promise, I will pay it back. And he's like, no, if you want to run business, you have to figure this out. And I was so pissed. And now I'm so grateful to him because what that made me do was figure out how to run business. Like, it made me figure out, how am I going to make $2,000 to buy this lens to help my business grow? And I did. I always did. I always figured it out. And soon I got that lens, and I'm starting to shoot weddings, and I'm starting to shoot brand photography, and just all started to come together. Well, in the middle of that, my parents own a healing school called the Muscle Testing Academy. And my dad said, I'm starting this academy. Would you like to come and learn? So at night times, once a week, I'd be there at school learning muscle testing, which is a form of healing. And pretty soon, I'm doing healing work during lunch hour. So I'm massaging at night. I'm taking photos on the weekends. I'm raising little kids. And when my kids were taking naps, I had people coming to my house and I was doing healing work. And I'm like helping people through addictions. I'm helping people through faith traumas. I'm helping people through just depression and anxiety. And I'm like, this is what I'm here to do. Like, I'm here to do this. So as I start healing, all of a sudden my gifts of seeing spirits show up. I didn't know I had this gift. I had blocked it. All of a sudden I'm like, dead people are coming to me all day long and they're telling me to give messages. And for a year I did it. For a year, anytime someone showed up, I always gave the message, because if I didn't, my whole mouth would get filled with canker sores. And so I knew I have to share the messages or I'm stuck. And so I did that for a year. And then after a year, I'm like, nursing my babies, dead people are coming to me. And I'm like, you know what? I'm out, God. Like, I got to raise 5 kids. Like, I'm not talking to dead people all day anymore. So you got to take this gift away from me. The gift was taken because I asked for it to be taken. And my life went into what I would say my most dormant time. It was really dormant. And I want to acknowledge that. Like, I know I needed to have that gift taken at that time. I couldn't handle it. But giving up my gift made life dormant for me. And photography fizzled out. I was still massaging. I mean, I had clients who'd been coming to me like 15 years, right? So like I was still had clients who'd been coming to me forever for massage, but I stopped doing photography. And I was still healing. That was like a big thing. That's always, that was always in the background. But that was also the time when I started to get really depressed. And that's when I became really suicidal. And that was the moment, and I've talked about this so many times on this podcast, was that moment when I almost took my life on February 17th, 2017. And God said, stop, you have work to do. And that moment changed me literally into my cells. Like, if you could see pictures of what I looked like before that day and who I am now, like I look like I've lost 10 years. I look younger than I did then. I'm way more vibrant. And it's because I had a rebirth. And that was the beginning. That was the beginning of the next phase of entrepreneurship for me. Because from that moment on, anything God asked me to do, I would do. Because I had made a commitment that if I was going to stay on this earth, that I would do everything God inspired me to do. And that was a catalyst that I would have never seen coming. So, a few months after that suicide attempt and choosing to live, I'm inspired to write a book. Start writing the book. I'm inspired to build a publishing house. I start building the publishing house. And before you know it, I'm coaching. I don't know how that happened. It just like one day decided I was a coach. Like, this is it. This is what I'm here to do. I remember my first client was my cousin, and she was willing to pay me $200 a month. And we met every single week. And I used my gifts from Muscle Testing Academy. And I had also been trained in my mom's form of healing work, which is called Energy Mastery. So I had tools, right? Plus, I think I'd had up to this point 15 years of being a massage therapist, which is pretty much being a therapist for that long. Like, you hear people's problems and you talk them through them. So I had all these gifts and also my spiritual gifts. The gift of being a medium was probably my strongest gift, and I didn't see it at the time because I could work with clients and I could hear what they needed, and then I could guide them on where they needed to go. I wasn't aware that I was using my mediumship gifts. I just thought, wow, like this is like really simple for me and people are getting really great results. So it went from one client who was paying me $200 a month to then 4 clients. So now I've got women I'm coaching, and in the background is like this like phantom publishing house. Like, why did God ask me to build a publishing house? This feels so ridiculous, And I would check in on it every now and then energetically and be like, I don't know why I was told to do that, because nothing's happened with it. And I don't actually feel inspired to do anything with it. So just let it be. Well, now it's been, 2018 I started the publishing house. I start learning how to be a public speaker. I join a mastermind with Casey Baker, who, crazy enough, is now my coach again in 2023. But she was my first coach. And I got to just like share this moment. It was one of those moments where like the earth moved and nothing ever was the same. It was a July morning, and I remember praying for guidance. This was 2018, July. I'm like, God, I need guidance on what you want me to do on this planet. And I heard the words early bird. Like, I have no idea what that means. And then I hear, check your email. So I open up my email, and there you have it. An email says early bird ticket. I'm like, well, I don't know what this is, but this is what God just told me to do. So I literally had no idea who Casey Baker was. I don't know how I got on her email list. Legit, I have no idea how I'm on her email list. And she's saying she's doing a 3-day workshop on speaking. So I buy the ticket. And because I'm, got massage therapy at night and I'm doing this coaching, I've got money to invest in my business, small amounts, but enough. I buy my ticket. I go down to Sedona to an event with a woman. I have no idea who she is. All I know is God told me to be there. And I remember, it's such a beautiful moment. She had spent 2 days teaching us how to speak. We then stand up in front of the crowd of 15 other women and we speak what we've been working on. So I get up, and this is the first time I've ever spoken, like really spoken my passion, my truth. I have no idea what I was speaking about, but I spoke it. And I will always remember the moment. Casey Baker takes her notebook. She throws it on the ground. She looks at me straight in the eyes and she says, "Don't you ever stop doing this." And when she said those words, it rolled from my head to my toes, and these sobs came out of me. Because I was like, holy shit, she's right. Like, it was a power I had never felt before when I spoke. And it was the beginning of this unleashing of my power. So I joined her mastermind, which was $20,000. And let me get real, like, my family did not have money. Like, we did not have money. We were barely paying the bills. And here I'm being inspired to join a $20,000 mastermind. And I went and got my own credit cards and I paid for it out of my own debt. And it changed my life. One, because it was the first time I had really invested in me. Like, I am investing in this gift that I don't even know, but I can feel it. So I'm just going to invest in it. And I spent 9 months with Casey and about 15 other women in mastermind that radically changed my world, radically changed my life. And so this was the evolution, right? All this is happening. My publishing house is just still sitting in the back corner. While I'm in her mastermind, I really start to wake up this power. Like, holy shit, what is actually inside of me? Like, something really magical is here, and I've just been living at like 1%. That's what it felt like. Like, what? My car can drive that fast? Like, that's how it felt in my body. Like, I had no idea I could actually be this big and brilliant and bold. And it was just barely waking up. So I started getting more and more clients, more. And then I'm like, I'm going to run a mastermind because I just was in one. I'm sure I can figure it out. So I launched my first mastermind. It was $6,000 for 6 months, which sounded outrageous to me. And I sold it. I filled it up. I had women in it. And it was so amazing. I could see the power of women in a mastermind together, seeing each other, feeling each other. Some weeks they'd be high and someone else would be having the worst week ever, and then they'd swap. And I could see the power of community. And I loved running masterminds. Like, this was it. So I'm in this mastermind and I get a notification from the bank that the bank account I'd set up for my publishing house was almost empty because, like, the dividends, they was just taking things out every month and I didn't put a lot in. So I go to the bank to close it up because I'm like, this was the dumbest thing ever. Like, God was off his rocker when he asked me to build a publishing house. And I go to close it and I hear an audible stop. I'm like, all right, fine. This is dumb, but sure. So I throw $100 in. It's like a month later, a woman in my mastermind's like, I have a book to write. And I'm like, well, what? And she's like, no, I have a book to write. I have no idea how to publish it. I was like, well, guess what? I own a publishing house. P.S. Guess you didn't know that. Let's figure it out. And so I feel like it was like end of 2019, we like published our first book. It was a hot mess. It was a horrible, I think the first 10 books we published was a hot mess. We were just trying to figure out how to do it. What's the best way? But then everybody who was in my mastermind, like, I was like, well, do you have a book? Because now we can publish you. So then it started to be like, well, if you have a book on the side, like, here, we'll publish it for you. And it kind of began to be like this like side hobby. Like, I would never own that I was a publisher. I was like, I'm a coach. And like, sometimes I publish books. Like, that's just what I would say. Like, I'm a coach, but like, yeah, sometimes I publish books. And then it changed. It changed when I was working with one of my clients who was in the mastermind, and we're sitting knee to knee, Cami Epperson, not actually physically knee to knee. I say that she was on Zoom, but it sure felt like we were in person. We are like heart to heart, and I see a book show up. Now, because I had seen spirits for, a while, I knew what it felt like when a spirit would show up. So when the book showed up, it was the same vein. It was just like when spirits would show up, but the book, it was a book. And I could see the cover, and I could see the insides, and I could hear what it needed to say. And I start telling it to her, and she's just like, tears are coming down her cheeks. And then she wrote it in a month. And I was like, holy shit, what just happened? And then we published it in a month. Like, it was like so crazy, right? Like, what just happened? And that's when I started to feel like, oh, this is what I'm here to do. This is so easy. This is like breathing for me. I could help people write books every single day, but I hated publishing because like I am not the detail girl. Like, I hate spreadsheets, and I hate publishing. I'm getting a little excited over here. I really do. Like, I hate the back end. So my sister, her name's Claire, she's totally opposite from me. Like, she is so organized. She loves the back end work, and she has all these little kids. And I'm like, I can teach you how to publish, and then I don't have to do it anymore. And then you can have a side gig from home, and like, we could just really make this work. And so she lived in Vegas. I live in Idaho. I flew down to Vegas for 3 days. And because I do love systems, and because my ex-husband worked for Infusionsoft for a decade, he taught me everything I know about systems. Like, he was the best teacher of how to build landing pages and email sequences and opt-ins and like everything that I needed. And so I knew how to build systems. So I was like, we can systemize publishing, Claire. And she's like, okay, sure. Whatever you say. I'm like, no. Like, I literally can see it. We're going to systemize how to publish. So I flew to Vegas. We have 3 days, and we build a whole publishing system, like automated. Every author literally has to just fill out a few forms, and the whole damn thing is automated. And I'm like, holy shit, we got something here. Like, I think we actually have like a company. Like, and all of a sudden I'm like, wait, I think I'm a publisher. And that's when I started to own it. Like, I'm a publisher. And we might be the best publisher in the world because I wasn't trained to be a publisher. And I really think that's my gift here, is that no one trained me to publish. Instead, I just started to publish, and I saw all the things that sucked, and I just fixed them. And every time something sucks, I just fix it. And we make it better. So now we've got a system so that it's really easy for our authors. And now we've got Claire running the system, so I'm not publishing. And now I'm like actually owning my gifts, like I'm a book medium. So now I'm out helping people receive their books. We're then sending them over to Claire. We've got a system. We got a whole new business. And that, it was like the gears got locked into place, and I knew I had found my thing. And all the pieces leading up to this, all the jobs, and I think I've left out like 4, and it doesn't matter, but like every little job I had led to this, right? Okay, so these are coming in. So at one point in my early career of 2018, I started to become an MLM, like in an MLM space of selling brain herbs that help people focus better and help people with depression. And I want to say this here, because of being in that MLM for like a hot 6 months, I actually had to learn how to build email sequences and landing pages. And that's what forced me to learn the systems. So even though the MLM actually like broke and then that whole company fell apart, I had to be in it for 6 months to learn how to do this, like how to build the systems that make my publishing house actually run today. And then there was another business in there, I think 2019, where I started a turquoise jewelry line, where I knew someone who owned a turquoise mine. And like it was like orgasmic for me. I would go in and like literally lay in turquoise and like pick out turquoise straight from the mountain. It was the most delicious business, but it totally failed and I lost like $30,000. And what I learned in that business was how to brand. I learned how to create really amazing things that go in packages that now help me in my publishing house. Like when you're one of our authors, I create this beautiful package for you that has these special note cards and all these little pieces that jewelry line trained me how to do. So everything led to now. So now we've got the system. Now I'm owning my gifts again. I've reclaimed my gifts of being a medium, but in a way that I loved. And I really want to highlight that because I think when we have a gift, we think we have to use it the way that we see it. I still don't love being a medium for spirits. I mean, I did it for my best friend last week when her past ex, he died, and we were able to have him come in. And I was able to be a medium and tell this story and share his message. I'll do that here and there, but like this isn't what I want to do. Like I don't want to be a medium all day. Like this, it doesn't light me up. It lights me up to be a medium for books. It lights the hell out of me to hear a book, to help an author see their book, and then to watch it actually move throughout their body and then have them write it really easily. I'll do that all day long. So I'm using my gifts again. I'm feeling alive. And then I joined Genius Network. And that was 2022. Last February, I joined Genius Network, which radically changed my life in every sense of the way because I'm now with entrepreneurs who are way more successful than me. And I can't help but rise when I am with people who are better than me. Like it makes me fight. I'm feisty. I'm stubborn. I'm like, I will not be at the bottom of this totem pole. And it like made me dig deep inside of me to become bigger, better, reach higher. And also, it was the first time I ever felt at home. I'm like kind of a weird human and I don't actually like spend time with a lot of humans. I'm pretty introverted, and Genius was like coming home for me. Like it's the place that I feel the most at home. So then in April, I'm sitting at the table. They handpick where you sit. It's always divinely guided, I think. And there's this man sitting across from me. And there was like something that pulled me to him. It was like I could feel his passion inside of him. I had never heard of his name. It was Evan Carmichael. I don't know who that is. But he starts to ask me about my business, and he starts to like really give me value, like high level value of what I should be doing to help my business. And that was it. Like he wasn't asking for anything in return. He was just literally giving me gobs of information. I could feel my body like just drinking it in. Then he invites me to come onto his Instagram to do an Instagram live and channel his book. And to this point, I had never channeled live. The only people who had ever witnessed my gifts as channeling were people in my mastermind. So it was kind of like a hidden gift. Like, well, if you're close to me, then you can, participate in my gifts. He was asking me to do this live. And I am committed to never saying no when a door opens. So when he said that to me, we're passing in the hallway. He looked at me, he said, hey, why don't you come on and do a live with me and we'll channel a new book. And everything inside me wanted to say no. Like, oh, I cannot do this live. Like, what if I can't channel live? What if I only can channel in safe communities? But the fire spoke before my mind. And I was like, yep, I will be there. Took us 2 months to get together on maybe a month and a half to get on his show. The night before I'm supposed to go live with him, I decided to look him up on Instagram. And I'm like, holy shit. He has like 250,000 followers. I think he has like 350,000 now, but it was like some abnormal, like, wait. wait, what did I just agree to? And I was like, I have nowhere in my house that I could do this live and make it look good. So I run to Ross that night. I'm like buying bookshelves and a picture frame, and I set up a whole corner in our garage because I realized like I could feel like this feels like it's going to be a big opportunity and I'm not going to mess this up. So the next day we go live. He tells me that publishers have been knocking on his door trying to get him to write another book. And he's like, I don't have a book in me. I don't have a book in me. And so he said that to me, I don't have a book in me, but I'd like to see if you can channel one. Sure enough, we channel his book. And not only do we channel this fierce momentum book, he then goes and writes it in 5 days. We then publish it in 8. And he asks to be my business partner. And I'll always remember the night I was sitting on the couch in our game room. He sends me this YouTube video. And on the YouTube video, he says, I don't know what to say other than I want to be your business partner. Like I can see that there's something that we're here to do together. And I had never wanted a business partner. I am so damn independent and I'm so damn stubborn. But when he said those words, it was like my whole body dropped and tears just rolled down my cheeks. And I knew, like, I don't even know this man and I'm supposed to partner. We're supposed to build this together. So I say, I'm a holy hell yes. He lives in Toronto. I live in Idaho. How are we going to make this work? He says, well, I'm coming to Arizona in June. Meet me there. We'll sign contracts. Business partnership. I'm on my way to Alaska that Sunday. He wants me to be in Arizona on Friday. And I was like, this does not make any sense, but I'm a holy hell yes. So I fly to Arizona for 24 hours. We meet. We spend the whole evening just masterminding how we were going to build the best publishing house to go change the whole world. And I fly home after we sign contracts, and I'm like, nothing had ever felt more right. Not only has he shown up in a way that I've never experienced partnership, like he is the business partner who can handle my massive stubborn streak with grace and my feistiness, because I'm probably not the easiest person to be a business partner with. I am feisty, I am stubborn, and I am fire like 99.9% of my life. And he has walked with it all. It has been an extraordinary experience to feel what it's like to have a partner in business. It's been extraordinary. Not only did we triple business in 6 months together, but we have expanded how we serve our authors. So now authors come in and they get a whole year with me in a mastermind. So they get massive support when they're writing their books. And then they get massive support while they're in editing. And then they get massive support with the book launch. So it's like we are there for them every step of the way. And not only do they get this whole year with me, they get our whole team of editors, our whole team of publishers. But now we're marketing. We're marketing for our authors because God told me it is my radical responsibility to help authors who write really important books market their books. It's an actual, like, it's a sham if we're going to write the best damn book ever and 10 people read it. Like, fuck no. Like, no, we're not doing that. We're going to go change the world, and we're going to do it by selling more books. So here we go. We are now in this vibrational frequency of like, whoa, it hasn't even been a year since Evan and I joined partnership. Our publishing house has grown radically in size, but now we're offering so many new things. And it feels so right. It's like, it is the most ease I've ever felt. Like, this is what I'm here to do. And I know it, and I know it, and I know it, like down to my cells. And every time I help a writer make their book better, every time I channel with them and I show them the visions of what they're here to do, I see them wake up, and I know that when they finish their book, they're going to go change thousands of lives. So me helping one person then go helps thousands. And the more we can bring in like that, this is actually how we change the systems in the world. Like this is how we move mountains. This is how we change landscapes. And I am so a yes for all of this. Now, all of that happening in the last year. Also, in the last year, my marriage of 20 years dissolved, like literally cracked, broke, tried to save it, couldn't save it, ended it, got divorced on 12/22/22, moved out of my house that had my sacred land, that had my sacred tent, that watched the sun every morning of my life, watched the sunrise, left that. It was so painful. And went from never supporting a whole family to all of a sudden supporting a whole family of 5 kids. I tell that part of my story because so many people want to quit when life gets hard. But let me tell you that shit gets real right before your expansion. So if you're going to stop every time shit gets real, you're actually not going to expand. But if you can keep in momentum, if you can remember why the hell you're here, like why you're here and what you're here to do, you can move through even the darkest of nights and watch your expansion. So this is one of my favorite pieces of entrepreneurship, is the stories of how we got here. And my story is at the beginning still. Like, I can't wait to come back in a year and revisit this and see what's happened in the next year. Like, I can't wait to come back in a decade and see how many massively important books were written because I didn't say no. If I had said no to this calling in my heart, if I had said, who am I to be a publisher? Like, I had a 2.7 in high school, guys. Remember that story? Never went to a day of college. Remember that story? Like, who am I to be a publisher? Who am I to be a book medium? The question is, who am I not to be? Like, this is my calling. Like, this is what God asked me to do. So holy hell yes to that. And if I had said no because of the limitations in my mind, there are hundreds of messages that would have never been birthed in the world. Because my yes opened the door for other yeses, for other people to say yes to their calling. So I want to flip it on you. What have you been inspired to do that you're not doing, that if you did it, could actually change humanity, could actually roll out massive shifts throughout the world? Like, why the hell are you keeping it inside of you? Like, let's go. Like, you were meant to do something. I don't care if you're not qualified. Your calling qualifies you every damn time. Every damn time you are qualified by the calling that you have been given. And if you lean in, you'll be shown step by step by step how to get there. This is not an overnight thing. This will never be an overnight success, but it will be an overnight success in the way that you feel, because you will begin to become unleashed. You will begin to be awakened in your power, and the convictions inside of you will open doors that were always locked. So I'm going to take a nice breath in. I am so honored to be able to tell these stories, and I'm so excited to see what comes next. And I will say this over and over and over again, that I have failed millions of times, but I never, ever, ever see them as failures. Because every single one of them gave me a tool, a talent, an insight, a gift for the next thing that has all been brought together for this moment. So anytime you've launched something and it was crickets, keep pushing. Anytime you write something and no one comments, keep pushing. Like, anytime you lose $30,000 on a jewelry line, don't mark it off as a failure. Look at it as a win. Like, for me, that was a $30,000 educational experience. Like, people spend that on courses all day long. So what? I lost $30,000 in business. Guess what? I didn't lose it. I gained it. It gave me everything I needed for right here, right now. So whatever you have chalked up as failure, No more. Like, no more of that. It is here as a gift for you. Every time you expand, you're going to hit shit. It's going to happen every damn time. It's okay. You're going to move through it. You're going to move through it because your convictions are bigger than the trials. Your work is more important than the hardships. They're going to show up and you're going to move through them because this is who you are and this is what you were born to do. All right, my friend. There's a little bit of fire in there today. I hope you had some activation. And I want to invite you to join me in person May 11th through May 13th in Carefree, Arizona. I mean, if this is fire for you, let me tell you, in person, it is 100x and you will be so damn grateful you're there. We are going to wake up the creator inside of you. We are going to deepen your convictions and we're going to get shit done. You're going to write your book. You're going to write your courses. You're going to build your podcast. I don't care what it is, but we are going to work on it. And then, of course, I am partnering with Jesse because he is like the metal to my fire. And he's going to bring you all into the most beautiful state with your nervous system so that you leave the event with products created and a nervous system that is nourished. It's going to be amazing. The link will be in my show notes. I will see you there. As always, please rate, review, share, send, subscribe. Send this message to people you know who need some fire. And I want to leave you with a message. All right, so take a nice breath in. I want you to remember that when you use your gifts, life becomes full color. So this week, I want you to dive in and taste life using every gift that you have. And I will see you next week.